The crowd roared so loud that the crystal towers of Zirion Prime shook. Millions of aliens filled the massive arena, their voices mixing into one giant wave of sound. They were all watching the same thing. The human was down. Finally down. Staff. Sergeant Maria Santos lay on the metal floor of the fighting ring. Her black armor was cracked in 3 places. Smoke came out of the broken parts. Her helmet was gone, and her dark hair was wet with sweat and blood. She did not move. Not even a little bit. Commander Zethkar stood over her. He was huge, even for a Valorian. His blue skin was covered in thick scales that looked like armor. His 4 arms each held a different weapon. The crowd loved him. He was their champion, their hero. The one who would finally put the humans in their place. "It is finished," Zethkar said. His voice was deep and loud. It carried across the arena. Without any help from machines. The human species has been beaten. They are weak. They always were weak. The other alien fighters stood around the ring. There was Vex Thala from the ethereal race. She looked like a tall, thin person made of white light. Her people could read minds and move things without touching them. She had beaten 12 humans before this fight. Next to her was Queen Node, Crix of the Cruel. She looked like a giant ant that walked on 2 legs. Her black shell was hard as metal. Behind her, 1,000 cruel drones watched with their red eyes. They all shared one mind. One thought. One goal. There were others too. The rock people called granites. The flying bird aliens called skyriders. The water people from the deep oceans. All of them had sent their best fighters. All of them had won against humans before. "Look at her," said one of the news reporters. He was a Valorian with golden scales. "The human champion cannot even stand up. This proves what we have always known. Humans are the weakest race in the galaxy." The camera drones flew around Santos. They showed her broken armor to billions of viewers on thousands of worlds. Everyone could see that she was beaten. Done. Finished. In the VIP section, the alien leaders smiled. They had been waiting for this day. For months, humans had been getting too bold. Too loud. They had been settling. On new worlds, building new cities. Acting like they belonged with the great races of the galaxy. "Now we can divide their worlds among ourselves," said General Thaxmer. He was the leader of the Valorian army. "Earth will make a good farming planet. The other human worlds have useful metals. Their ships are not bad either," added Mindspeaker. "Veltar of the Ethereals, we can study them. Learn their simple tricks." The tournament had been going on for 7 days. It was supposed to show which race was the strongest, which one deserved to lead the Galactic Council. Humans had sent Santos as their champion. She was their best soldier, their greatest fighter. For 6 days she had surprised everyone. She had beaten fighters twice her size. She had won against aliens with powers humans did not have. But everyone knew it could not last. Humans were just too weak, too small, too normal. Santos had no special powers. She could not read minds like the Ethereals. She was not super strong like the Valorians. She could not control 1,000 bodies like the Cruel. She was just a human. And humans were average at everything. The alien crowd started to chant, "Weak, weak, weak." They stomped their feet and clapped their hands. Some threw things at Santos. Nothing hit her, but it showed how they felt. The judges began to walk toward the center of the ring. They were going to declare Zethkar the winner. The tournament would be over. The humans would go back to their little corner of space and stay quiet. But something was wrong. Dr. Hayes sat in the human section of the arena. There were only about 50 humans there. They looked sad and beaten. But Hayes was watching his tablet very carefully. He was Santos's doctor and friend. He knew her better than anyone. The tablet showed Santos's body signs, her heart rate, her breathing, her brain activity. What he saw made his eyes go wide. Santos's heart was beating slow and steady, not like someone who was hurt, not like someone who was unconscious. It was beating like someone who was thinking very hard. Her breathing was deep and calm, like someone doing meditation, like someone getting ready for something important. And her brain activity was off the charts. Her mind was working faster than Hayes had ever seen. She was not knocked out. She was not giving up. She was planning. Hayes looked around at the other humans. They all thought it was over. They all believed Santos had lost. But Hayes knew better. He had seen Santos fight before. He had seen her in the worst battles of the human-pirate wars. She never gave up, never, on the arena floor. Santos lay very still. But inside her mind, she was working. She was remembering every move Zethkar had made, every attack, every defense. She was thinking about the other fighters too, how they moved, how they fought, what made them strong, and what made them weak. The aliens thought the fight was over. They thought they had won. They were already making plans to take human worlds, to make humans into slaves or servants. They had no idea what was coming. Santos's fingers moved just a little bit, so small that only the closest camera caught it. Her eyes opened just a crack, just enough to see the real fight was about to begin. Santos moved slowly, very slowly. She pushed herself up on one arm, then the other. The crowd was still cheering and making noise. They barely noticed her getting up. She stood on shaky legs. Her armor made small beeping sounds where it was broken. Blood ran down her face from a cut above her eye. But she was standing. Commander Zethkar turned around. He saw her and laughed. It was a big, loud laugh that made the crowd laugh too. "The human wants more pain," he said. "Very well. I will finish what I started." Santos wiped the blood from her face. She looked around the arena. She looked at each alien fighter. She looked at the walls, the ceiling, the floor. She was seeing everything in a new way. For 6 days, she had been fighting like the aliens expected, one-on-one, standing in the middle of the ring, trading punches and kicks, fighting their way, but that was not the human way. "Wait," Santos said. Her voice was quiet, but the arena went silent. Everyone wanted to hear what the beaten human would say. "I want to use my right," she said. Judge Corval stepped forward. He was a tall, gray alien with 6 eyes. "What right do you speak of, human?" "The right of final challenge," Santos said. "Every species gets to fight by their own rules one time. That is the law of the tournament." The judges looked at each other. They had forgotten about that old rule. It was written in the tournament laws thousands of years ago. No one ever used it anymore. "What are your rules, human?" Judge Corval asked. Santos smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a soldier who had a plan. "Human combat rules," she said. "No more standing in one place. No more taking turns. Real fighting. The kind my people are good at." Judge Corval looked confused. "But humans are not good at fighting. That is why you are losing." "No," Santos said. "Humans are not good at your kind of fighting. But we are very good at our kind of fighting." She pointed to the arena walls. "Make this place bigger. Make it like a real battlefield. Give us cover. Give us places to hide. Make it like war." The crowd started to boo. They did not like this idea. They wanted to see more simple fighting, more punching and kicking, but the rules were the rules. Judge Corval pressed some buttons on his control pad. The arena began to change. The flat metal floor split apart. Hills rose up from below. Walls came up from the ground. Trees and rocks appeared. The ceiling opened up and showed the sky. In seconds, the simple fighting ring became a complex battlefield. It was 3 times bigger than before. There were places to hide, places to climb, places to run. It looked like a real world where real battles happened. "Much better," Santos said. She cracked her knuckles and rolled her shoulders. The alien fighters looked around. They did not like this change. They were used to simple fighting. Stand and fight. Use your strength. Use your powers. Win. This was different. This was confusing. Who do you wish to fight first? Judge Corval asked. Santos laughed. It was a sound that made the aliens feel cold inside. All of them, she said. At the same time, the crowd gasped. The fighters looked shocked. Even the judges could not believe what they heard. That is not possible, said Vexthala. No one can fight all of us together. Humans can, Santos said. That is what we do. That is what we have always done. She started walking toward the hills. You have 5 minutes to get ready. Then we start. Commander Zethkar was angry. You cannot just walk away from me, human. Santos stopped. She turned around. Watch me. Then she ran into the hills and disappeared. The alien fighters stood in the middle of the arena. They did not know what to do. They were used to seeing their enemy, used to fighting face to face. Where did she go? Asked Queen Nodecrix. Find her, said Zethkar. She's just one small human. We are 12 of the strongest fighters in the galaxy. But as they started to search, strange things began to happen. A rock hit Skyrider Talon in the head. He looked around but saw no one. Another rock hit him from a different direction. Vexthala tried to read Santos's mind. But all she could sense was calm, peace, like Santos was meditating. It made no sense. Queen Nodecrix sent her drones to search. But when they went into the hills, they started to disappear. One by one, quietly. This is not right, said General Granite Fist. She should be attacking us. Where is the fighting? That was when they heard Santos's voice. It came from everywhere and nowhere. You want to know where the fighting is? She said. Look around you. The alien fighters spun in circles. They looked at the hills, the trees, the rocks, but they saw nothing. For 6 days I fought your way, Santos continued. I stood in one place. I let you hit me. I hit you back. Simple, easy, boring. A small explosion went off Mir Zethkar's feet. It did not hurt him, but it made him jump. But that is not how humans fight, Santos said. We do not stand still and trade punches. We move, we hide, we use our brains. More small explosions went off. The fighters began to panic. They swung their weapons at shadows. They attacked empty air. You are all very strong, Santos said. Much stronger than me. You are faster too. You have powers I do not have. Something moved in the trees. The fighters all turned to look. But it was just the wind. But you have one big problem, Santos continued. You are used to being strong. You are used to winning. You think strength is everything. A net fell from the trees onto Skyrider Talon. Before he could break free, Santos appeared from nowhere. She hit him once, very precisely. He fell down and did not get up. Then she was gone again. Humans learned something different, her voice said. We learned that the strongest person does not always win. The smartest person wins. The person who adapts wins. The alien fighters backed toward each other. They formed a circle. Back to back. Ready for an attack. But no attack came, instead. They heard something that made their blood freeze. Santos was laughing. The alien fighters stood back to back in their circle. They looked at every shadow, every moving leaf. Every small sound made them jump. She is just one human, Zethkar said. But his voice was not as sure as before. We are 12. We can handle one small human. Then why is Talon not getting up? Asked Vexthala. She pointed to where the Skyrider lay on the ground. He was breathing but not moving. Santos's voice came from the hills again. He will be fine. I just hit the right spot. On his neck. Your people have the same weak points as most flying races. In the crowd, the aliens were getting worried. This was not what they expected to see. Their champions looked scared, confused. They were supposed to be winning. What is she doing to them? Asked one Valorian in the crowd. Dr. Hayes smiled in. The human section. He knew exactly what Santos was doing. She was being human. Back in the arena, Queen Node Crix made a decision. Spread out, she told her drones. Search every hill, every tree, find the human. Her drones ran in all directions. They moved fast and worked together like a machine. For a moment, it looked like a good plan. Then the screaming started. The drones began to fall down one by one. They were not dead, just sleeping. Something was making them unconscious very quickly. What is happening to them? Queen Node Crix cried out. Santos appeared behind a rock. She was holding a small device. Sonic pulse generator, she said. I built it from parts of my broken armor. It makes a sound that puts insect-type aliens to sleep. She pressed the button again. More drones fell down. But that is impossible, said Judge Corval from his safe place above the arena. Humans do not have that technology. We do now, Santos said. She held up more small devices. I had 6 days to watch all of you fight. 6 days to learn about your bodies, your weaknesses, your fears. She threw one device at General Granite Fist. When it hit his rocky skin, electricity ran all over his body. He turned stiff like a statue and fell over. Rock people conduct electricity very well, Santos explained. I learned that on day 3. Vex Thala tried to use her mind powers to control Santos. She reached out with her thoughts. But when she touched Santos's mind, pain shot through her head like fire. Ah! She screamed and grabbed her head. Santos tapped her temple. Mental shields. I have been practicing meditation for 15 years. Your mind tricks do not work on a calm, focused brain. The ethereal fell to her knees. Her white light flickered and went dim. This is not possible, Zethkar said. He was starting to sound afraid. Humans do not fight like this. You are supposed to be honorable. You are supposed to fight fair. Santos laughed again. Fair? You think this tournament was fair? You are 3 times my size. She can read minds. They share one brain between 1,000 bodies. But when I use my brain, suddenly it is not fair. She jumped from rock to rock, moving closer to the remaining fighters. Let me tell you about fair, Commander. Fair is when humans fought the pirate lords with ships half the size of theirs. Fair is when we held off the hive queens with weapons that barely scratched their shells. Fair is when we won battles we should have lost because we were too stupid to know we could not win. Zethkar swung his sword at her. She was not there anymore. She had rolled away and was already behind another rock. You see, that is your problem, Santos continued. You think fighting is about being strong, about having the best weapons, about following rules. A small explosion went off under Zethkar's feet. It did not hurt him much, but it made him angry. He began to smash rocks with his 4 weapons, trying to find her. But humans learned something different, Santos said. We learned that winning is about adapting, about changing, about doing things the enemy does not expect. She appeared next to Wave Rider Neth, the water alien. Before he could react, she sprayed something on his gills. He began to cough and gasp. That is just soap and oil, she explained as he fell down. It clogs your breathing holes. Do not worry, it will wash off in a few minutes. The crowd was getting very quiet now. Half the alien champions were down. The other half were running around, trying to catch one small human who seemed to be everywhere at once. You want to know the real difference between humans and all of you? Santos asked. She was standing on top of a hill now, in plain sight. You all evolved to be perfect at one thing, super strong. Super fast, mind powers, hive minds, flying, swimming. She spread her arms wide. But humans? We evolved to be okay at everything. Just okay, not the best, but good enough. And you know what that means? Zefkar charged up the hill at her, his 4 weapons ready to cut her in pieces. It means we can learn to do anything, Santa said. She jumped off the back of the hill just as Zefkar reached the top. He swung at empty air and nearly fell over, but Santos was not running away this time. She was running towards something she had prepared. You see, while you were all arguing about who was strongest, she called out, I was watching, learning. She reached a small control panel hidden behind some rocks. It was made from parts of the arena itself. I studied this arena for 6 days. I learned how it works, how to control it. She pressed a button. The ground under Zefkar's feet began to move. The hill started to tilt. He slipped and slid down into a hole that had just opened up. Gravity generators, Santos explained. Every advanced arena has them. I just borrowed a few. Wind Dancer Vel began to fly toward her. Santos pressed another button. The air around the flying alien became thick and heavy. She fell from the sky like a rock. Atmospheric controls, Santos said. Also very useful. Now only 3 alien champions were left standing. They looked around at their fallen friends. They looked at the small human who had beaten them all. This is impossible, whispered Mindshaper Cole. 1 human cannot defeat 12 champions. Santos walked toward them slowly. She was not hiding anymore. She did not need to. You are right, she said. 1 human cannot defeat 12 champions. But a human who thinks like a human can. She stopped in front of them. Her armor was still broken. She still had blood on her face. But her eyes were bright and sharp. You all made the same mistake, she told them. You thought being human was a weakness. You thought being average at everything meant we were weak at everything. She smiled. But being average at everything means we can do everything. We can adapt to anything. We can become whatever we need to become to win. The 3 remaining champions looked at each other. For the first time in their lives, they were afraid of a human. Now, Santos said, cracking her knuckles. Who wants to go next? The 3 remaining champions stood together. Mindshaper Cole from the Psi Lords, Bonecrusher Rax from the Deathwalkers, and Commander Zethkar, who had climbed out of the hole Santos had trapped him in. They were the strongest fighters left. The most dangerous. The most experienced. But they were also scared. We attacked together, Zethkar said quietly. All at once. No more games. Agreed, said Bonecrusher Rax. His skeleton body clicked as he moved. She cannot beat all 3 of us if we stay together, Mindshaper Cole nodded. His brain was twice the size of a normal head. I will attack her thoughts, you 2 attack her body. Santos heard them talking. She did not try to hide it. Good plan, she called out. Working together, using teamwork, very smart. She walked to the center of the arena. Right out in the open. No rocks to hide behind, no tricks to use. There is just one problem with your plan, she said. What problem? Zefkar demanded. Santos smiled. You are still thinking like aliens. The crowd leaned forward. Even the alien leaders in their safe seats wanted to hear this. You see, Santos continued, each of you is very good at one thing. Cole, you can control minds. Rax, you can break anything with your hands. Zefkar, you are the perfect warrior. She started to walk in a circle around them. But you have been alone for so long. Your species are all the best at your one thing. You never had to learn to work with others who are different. Mindshaper Cole tried to attack her thoughts. But Santos kept talking, her mind focused and clear. Humans are different. We have always been weak alone, so we learn to work together. Not just with other humans, with anyone, anything. Bone Crusher. Rax charged at her. His skeleton hands could crush metal. But Santos was not there when he arrived. She had rolled away at the last second. We learn to make our weaknesses into strengths, she said. We learn to turn every problem into a solution. Zethkar swung all 4 of his weapons. Santos ducked and jumped and spun away from each one. She moved like water, like wind. You want to know the real secret? She asked. The thing that makes humans special? All 3 aliens attacked at once. Cole attacked her mind. Rax tried to grab her. Zethkar swung his swords. Santos did something none of them expected. She stopped moving. She stood perfectly still and let Cole into her mind. She let Rax grab her arm. She let Zethkar's sword touch her throat. The secret is, she said very quietly, we are not afraid to lose. Then everything happened at once. Santos had let Cole into her mind. But her mind was not what he expected. Instead of fear or anger, he found something else. Calm, peace, and something more. Hope. That the hope was so strong it burned. Cole had never felt anything like it. He tried to control it, but hope could not be controlled. It grew bigger and brighter, until it filled his whole brain. He screamed and let go of Santos's mind. At the same moment, Rax grabbed Santos's arm. His skeleton fingers could crush steel. But Santos did not try to pull away. Instead, she grabbed his wrist and twisted. Rax was very strong, but Santos knew about bones, about joints, about pressure points. She found the one spot where even a Deathwalker was weak. His grip loosened just enough, and Zethkar's sword was at her throat. 1 more inch and she would be dead. The crowd held their breath, but Santos had been counting on this. She had planned for this exact moment. She fell backward, pulling Rax with her. As she fell, she kicked up with both legs. Her feet hit Zethkar in the stomach and sent him flying over her head. He crashed into Mindshaper Cole, who was still screaming about the hope in Santos's mind. All 3 aliens went down in a pile. Santos rolled away and stood up. She had a small cut on her neck from Zethkar's sword. But she was alive. The arena was completely quiet. Even the wind had stopped blowing. You see, Santos said, breathing hard, you all fight to win. That makes you afraid to lose. Fear makes you slow, makes you careful, makes you weak. The 3 aliens got back to their feet. They looked hurt and confused. But humans fight for something bigger than winning, Santos continued. We fight for our families, our friends, our future, our hope. She pointed to the human section of the crowd. Dr. Hayes and the other humans were cheering now. Their faces were bright with joy. When you fight for something bigger than yourself, you are not afraid to lose. You are not afraid to take risks. You are not afraid to do crazy things that might not work. Zethkar raised his weapons again. But his hands were shaking now. That is why you will never understand humans, Santos said. That is why you will never beat us. Not really. She began to walk toward them again. Just 1 small human against 3 of the galaxy's greatest warriors. You can be stronger than us, faster than us, smarter than us. You can have powers we will never have. The 3 aliens backed away from her, step by step. But you will never have what we have, Santos sighed. You will never be willing to fall down and get back up. To lose a battle and keep fighting the war. To die for something more important than your own life. Mindshaper Cole tried to attack her thoughts again. But all he found was that terrible, beautiful hope. It burned him like fire. Bone Crusher Rax swung his fists. But they felt heavy now. Slow.zeta single quotes KAR attacked with all 4 weapons, but his perfect warrior training felt clumsy. Wrong. Santos moved between them like she was dancing. Every attack missed. Every defense failed, and with each move, she spoke. This is for every human child who dreams of the stars. She hit Cole in just the right spot. He fell down and did not get up. This is for every human ship that explores the unknown. She grabbed Rax's arm and used his own strength against him. He crashed into a wall. This is for every human who looks at the impossible and says, "Watch me." She stood in front of Zethkar, the greatest warrior in the galaxy. He raised all 4 weapons. Santos caught all 4 weapons with her bare hands. Blood ran down her arms where the sharp edges cut her. But she held on. "And this," she said, looking right into his eyes, "is for every alien who thought humans would stay quiet and weak forever." She twisted. The weapons flew out of Zethkar's hands. Then she hit him once. Just once, right in the center of his chest. The great commander fell backward and did not get up. Santos stood alone in the arena. 12 champions lay around her, all defeated. All beaten by one human who had refused to give up. The crowd was silent. Completely silent. Then from the human section came a sound. Clapping. Dr. Hayes was clapping. Then another human joined him. Then another. Soon all 50 humans in the arena were clapping and cheering. Santos looked up at the millions of aliens watching her. Her armor was broken. Her face was bloody. Her hands were cut, but she was standing. And for the first time in galactic history, the aliens did not know what to say. Santos stood in the middle of the arena. Around her, 12 of the galaxy's greatest champions lay on the ground. Some were unconscious. Some were awake but could not move. All of them had been beaten by one human. The silence stretched on and on. Millions of aliens stared down at the impossible sight. Their champions, their heroes, their strongest warriors. All defeated. Judge Corville floated down to the arena floor. His 6 eyes looked at each fallen fighter. Then he looked at Santos. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. "Say it," Santos said quietly. Judge Corville blinked all 6 eyes. "Say what?" "Say that I won. Say that humans won." Santos wiped blood from her face. "Say the words." Judge Corville looked around. The other judges were floating down too. They all looked shocked and confused. "The tournament has rules," Judge Corville said slowly. "The last fighter standing wins. The human... Santos is the last fighter standing." His voice carried across the arena through the speakers. Every alien in the galaxy heard those words. "But this cannot be right," said Judge Vexthal. He was shaking his head. "Humans are weak. Humans are small. This must be some kind of trick." Santos laughed. It was not a mean laugh. It was tired and happy at the same time. "No trick," she said. "Just human." She walked over to where Commander Zethkar was lying. The great Valorian warrior was awake but could not move. Santos knelt down next to him. "Are you hurt badly?" she asked. Zethkar stared at her. Do you care if I am hurt? I tried to kill you." "You were doing your job," Santos said. "Just like I was doing mine." She checked his pulse and looked at his eyes. "You will be fine. Just rest for a while." She moved to the next fallen champion. Queen Node Crix of the Cruel was awake too. Her compound eyes watched Santos approach. "Why do you help us?" Crix asked. "We are your enemies." Santos knelt down and checked Crix's injuries too. "You were my opponents, not my enemies. There is a difference." She went to each fallen champion, one by one, checking on them, making sure they were okay, helping them sit up if they could, giving them water if they needed it. The crowd watched in amazement. This was not what they expected. Winners were supposed to celebrate, to brag, to stand over their defeated enemies, but Santos was taking care of the fighter she had just beaten. "I do not understand," said Vexthala. The ethereal was sitting up now, holding her glowing head. "Why do you show us kindness? We would have destroyed your people if we had won." Santos sat down on a rock. She was very tired now. The fighting was over, and all the energy was leaving her body. "Maybe you would have," she said. "Maybe not, but that does not matter now." She looked around at all the alien champions. "You want to know another human secret? We do not fight because we hate our enemies. We fight because we love our friends. Mindshaper Cole was listening carefully. His big brain was trying to understand. But if you do not hate us, why did you fight so hard? Because you threatened the people I care about, Santos said simply. You wanted to take away human worlds, human freedom, human dreams. I could not let that happen. She stood up slowly. Her broken armor made noise as she moved. But now the fighting is done. Now we can talk like people instead of warriors. Commander Zethkar managed to sit up. You defeated us all. By the laws of the tournament, you have won. Your species gets to lead the Galactic Council. Santos shook her head. We do not want to lead anyone. Every alien in the arena gasped. Judge Corville's 6 eyes went wide. What do you mean? He asked. Humans do not want to rule the galaxy, Santos explained. We never did. We just want to be part of it. We want to explore. To learn, to make friends. She pointed to the alien leaders. In their VIP section. You were all so worried about humans taking over, but we never wanted to take over. We just wanted you to stop trying to make us disappear. General Faxmer stood up in the VIP section. But the tournament rules say the winner leads the council. Then change the rules, Santos said. That is what smart people do when the rules do not work anymore. She walked to the center of the arena. When she spoke, her voice carried to every corner. I have a different idea, she called out. Instead of one species leading all the others, why not let each species be good at what they do best? She pointed to different sections of the crowd. Valorians are great warriors. Let them protect the galaxy from real threats. Ethereals are wise and thoughtful. Let them help solve problems between species. The crowd was listening now, really listening. Cruel are amazing at working together. Let them help coordinate big projects. Granites are strong and patient. Let them build the things we all need. Santos spread her arms wide. And humans? We are good at adapting, at learning, at bringing different people together. Let us help everyone work as one big team. The arena was completely quiet again. But this was a different kind of quiet. It was the quiet of people thinking hard about new ideas. Dr. Hayes stood up in the human section. What Santos is saying, he called out, is that we are all stronger together than any of us are alone. Other humans stood up too. Then, slowly some aliens began to stand. First a few ethereals. Then some skyriders. Then more and more. Commander Zethkar used his 4 arms to push himself to his feet. It was hard, but he managed it. Human Santos, he said formally, you have defeated me in fair combat. You have shown mercy to your fallen opponents. You have offered wisdom instead of demanding power. He looked around at the other champions. One by one, they were standing up too. By the old laws of my people, Zethkar continued, I owe you a debt of honor. What would you have me do? Santos smiled. Be my friend, she said. Help me show the galaxy that different does not mean enemy. Zethkar was quiet for a long moment. Then he did something no Valorian had ever done before. He bowed to a human. It would be my honor, he said. The other champions looked at each other. Then, one by one, they bowed too. The crowd erupted in noise. Some aliens were cheering. Some were arguing. Some were crying. But they were all talking, all thinking, all wondering what came next. Judge Corville flew down to Santos. The tournament is over, he announced. But I think something new is just beginning. Santos nodded. She was very tired, but she was also happy. Yes, she said. Something new. She looked up at the millions of aliens watching her. At the humans cheering in their small section. At the champions who had become her friends. Today you all learned something about humans, she called out. We do not fight to prove we are the strongest. We fight to prove that strength is not everything. She paused. When she spoke again, her voice was soft but clear. We fight to prove that hope is stronger than fear, that friendship is stronger than hatred, that working together is stronger than standing alone. Santos walked toward the exit of the arena. Her job was done. "Welcome to the human way of doing things," she said. "Let's see what we can build together." Behind her, 12 champions followed. Not as defeated enemies, but as new friends. And in the crowd, millions of aliens began to think about what it really meant to be strong. The human had hit the ground. But she had gotten back up. And the galaxy would never be the same.